3 interviews we've done, but we'll just keep this going. Still meeting a lot of great people, and we have Jim with us. Jim, if you can, self-introduction, give us your name, what you do, and who you're with.
Jim Reinbold. I work for Carlson Software.
Okay.
I'm a regional sales director. Been with Carlson almost 18 years.
Wow. Okay.
So just started. Yep.
Yeah, brand new.
Just trying to just figured out the policies. Okay, got it.
And you think that's a long time, but I am not the oldest guy on the block doing this for Carlson.
Right.
So we stick around a long time.
I have to mention, and I appreciate Carlson's support of the program. They've been a friend of the program for a while, and we always appreciate them and what they do and help support us. So
Happy to do it.
let's talk a little bit about the conference. So are you based in Hawaii, or are you here just for the conference? And kind of why are you here?
As I said, I'm a regional sales director. I cover 9 different states, including Hawaii.
Okay.
So when you get the opportunity to cover Hawaii, find reasons to go there. Conferences are, a good reason to go.
Noted.
No, it's you're selling Carlson equipment, making the company money. That's why you're coming, right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
got it.
Uh-huh. Totally.
So
And what's it been like so far?
it's been a good conference. Obviously, well attended. They announced this morning that this is like one of the largest groups they've ever had. And traffic at the booth and people coming into the
Mhm.
exhibit area has been awesome.
I will say, spatially speaking, you have kind of the perfect setup because you got to walk right by you.
Yeah, everybody has to walk by the booth to get in.
Yeah.
That wasn't accidental.
That wasn't accidental. Nice.
No.
It's
nice.
not your first rodeo.
No.
So I'm curious. You're are you a conference roadie guy? Like we get to meet a lot. How many conferences a year do you do?
13, 14. I've done 3 in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you're on a run.
Yeah.
So maybe the better question is, what's your frequent flyer mile?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What status are you at now?
Actually not that high because I moved from Colorado to Idaho about 6 years ago, thinking I'd do a lot of short jumps on like Alaska and
Mhm.
whatnot. No, what I've discovered is driving for 10 hours is not that tough. And
Okay. All
so
right.
I
Yeah.
drive a lot of places and I don't fly. And lately I've decided that's okay.
Okay. I like that. What are those 9 regions that you cover?
The 9 states I cover currently are Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Alaska, and Hawaii.
I just got to say, like, most of those states are freaking awesome. I would find reasons to go to most of them.
All except you didn't include Arizona, so that's unfortunate. But it does sound like I would be remiss if I didn't allow you an opportunity to talk a little bit about Carlson and the company and what you guys do. I mean, I know it's turned into a household name, but
Carlson's been around 43 years. Started out mainly in software, originally focused in the mining industry,
okay.
and they branched out over the years. It has changed significantly since I started 18 years ago.
Hmm. Yeah.
18 years ago, smaller company, leaner. Everybody wore 24 different hats because there weren't enough bodies. We've grown up today. We've added hardware to our list, so it's not just software anymore. And that's been one of the challenges is getting the word out that we do hardware. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who don't know about that yet.
What are some of the advantages of the adding hardware as a product?
Hardware, we found that hardware will help sell software,
Okay.
especially on the data collection side. We had a good run with ServCE, supported lots and lots of hardware, and lots of people used it. But then as manufacturers started to kind of pull back and require fees to use third-party softwares, we found that, hey, if we really want to keep selling our product, we're going to need to have our own hardware to put it on. So we did.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
Yes.
And when along that process did that happen?
Oh, this started happening probably 2010, 2012, somewhere around in there.
Okay.
Is Carlson originally a Canadian company? Where are y'all from originally?
No.
Yeah.
So our founder, Bruce Carlson, was a engineer and a surveyor, and he settled in a little town in Kentucky called Maysville. It's about an hour southeast of Cincinnati on the Ohio River.
Okay.
he met this wonderful young lady whose parents lived in Maysville. So he made sure he got a job there, and he's stayed ever since, and he's completely committed to the town.
Interesting. Okay. Um, what it, you said that you obviously come here a lot. What's your experience in meeting the people from this area specifically?
Well, what I'm finding, so I started covering Hawaii again in November of 2023.
Okay.
So this is my first trip here since then, which is in part a function of all those other conferences and
Mhm.
so on. But I'm finding I probably need to get out here more often. People are anxious to hear about the products. They're anxious to learn more about the software they already have.
Hmm.
We could probably do more trainings out here.
So, so talk to me. I'm staring at some Carlson hardware right across the way. What are some of the units that you're pushing pretty heavily and seeing some traction with?
Well, the one that I didn't bring out is a robotic total station. We ran total stations from Geomax, and so a lot of people are familiar with that. The kind of our leading hardware piece is the BRX7.
Okay, tell
It's,
me about it.
it's been like the most popular GPS receiver on the market for 2 or 3 years. It does very well under canopy. People are shocked at how well it does under canopy. First 3 times I went out to do demos with it when it first came out, the words out of the mouth from the end user was, "We're going to take you out somewhere where you can't get fixed."
Mm.
You're like, ah,
Couldn't do that.
uh-huh.
Well, the end users are 0 and 3.
There. Okay.
So we got fixed everywhere they took us, and they finally gave up.
And so why is that? Why does it perform so well in that condition?
Uh, Part of it, honestly, is the L5 band. That's helped out immensely. And I think other manufacturers would acknowledge the same thing. If you have L5, you're going to perform better under canopy.
Okay.
The rest of it is the GNSS engine in there from Hemisphere. They actually build the units. It has a really strong um, process for clearing that out. The other advantage is when you start getting 4 and 5 constellations, you just have more satellites to pick from.
I remember, 15, 20 years ago, and we would go on the internet and look at PDOP schedules. So, like, basically where all the satellites were, and we'd schedule our lunch breaks around when the satellite, precision or the geometry was going to be bad. But nowadays, with so many satellites, it's like I'm tracking 30 satellites if I'm outside.
Right. So today the issue is becoming more site specific. Site specific. The idea being, if you want to come down to downtown Honolulu and survey, you may still want to go do that because you're in a canyon
All right.
and you want to think about where the satellites are and how many you're going to be able to get at that location. Because even if there are 30 up there, you've got a lot of buildings blocking your view.
Mhm.
Well, and that's when you take out that sweet robotic total station you were just talking about and use the right tool for the right job. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're out in the woods, if you can find someplace you can't get fixed, well, maybe you have to do that too.
Interesting. But like you said, they're 0 and 3 on that trial so far. So that's impressive. All right. Well, what are the cooks cooking in the lab at Carlson? What's coming up next?
We're looking at more hardware innovations,
Okay.
working with manufacturers that we've worked with, and pursuing all kinds of additional implementations for. We're starting to look at getting things built up on the cell phone market. Which one am I talking about? Not Apple.
Android.
Android. Yeah. There's not a lot out there for Android for data
Right.
collection,
Right.
and so we're starting to look at getting some together to put out on
And a lot of
Android.
the nerdy surveyors are Android guys instead of Apple guys.
And they keep asking.
Yeah.
Just
They
curious.
want it.
Had you have any market penetration into Europe? Because you talk about Android users,
Oh
or
yeah.
whatever it is.
It's flipped. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we might actually have several offices in Europe.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we have an office in York where we do manufacturing.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
We have our own laser measurement division that does some really interesting stuff, mine rescue type hardware, where you can bore a 2 or 3 inch hole in the ground into a cavity, feed this thing down, and then it just starts spinning and scanning, and you can figure out whether there are people in there or not.
Interesting. And I'm guessing you can do that in a quick time.
Yeah.
And kind of mobilize and I guess as far as emergency response.
Right.
knowing where you're going and what's in there is got to be a huge benefit.
Right. You know, why would you want to dig a tunnel down to this place if there's nobody in it?
Yeah, right. Or nobody moving in it.
Yeah.
So Jim, in your, very short 18 years at the company, I have to ask, what's the coolest job site or person you've been able to assist or, help with their solution with Carlson? Any cool war stories?
Wasn't even a surveyor,
Wasn't even in a surveyor.
but it it did end up in a survey publication. There's some mounds in Missouri, very large Indian ruins that they wanted to go in and map, but they didn't want to have to do any excavation. And they were using magnetometers to penetrate the earth. And they were using BRX-7s on top of them to track their position.
So talk to me a little bit about that so our listeners know what you're talking about because I don't really know what you're talking about. Magnet magnetometers.
Yeah,
Tell
what
me
is-
all about that. That
I
sounds
don't
really
know what a
cool.
magnetometer is. It's got to be similar to ground penetrating radar,
Oh, okay.
but it's using a different technology, but it allows them to see into the ground and find things like artifacts under the earth that they can map, identify without having to move any dirt.
It's awesome. Very, very cool.
So it's very non-invasive.
Talk a little bit on the software side. What's the plan or what's coming up next? Continue doing what's working because I mean it's a popular product.
Yeah,
A
we're
lot
going to
of people use
continue.
it.
We're going to continue a lot of the stuff we've done, with the office software,
Mhm.
annual releases.
They're going to allow Bad Elf to have drivers in there so we can use their software. What?
Oh,
what I heard.
that's a great idea.
I now know this
You just
guy,
gotta
Jim.
throw stuff out there and manifest it.
Yeah, you've got the inside track, Nick. I haven't even heard that yet. You're way ahead of me.
You are way ahead
Hey.
of the company plan there, buddy.
But I'm just a regional sales director. I don't know anything. Obviously we'll come out with the annual releases. We're going to have updates and we'll get those the same way we always have from user input on what they're looking for, things that they'd like to see us be able to do. The version 7 of our Serve PC has been a huge success because of some changes we made internally with it. It's allowed us to do things we could never do before.
That's amazing. Anything else you want to get out there, Jim, before I let you go?
I think we've spilled enough of the beans already, but
Nice. Nick, who you got?
I got one more question.
Go
Can I
for it.
ask you one more
Yeah.
question?
Do it.
Okay. So what do you think the market in geospatial, say over the next 1, 2, 3 years looks like? There's a lot of turmoil, obviously, and this is not a political question, but more so from your experience. If you had a crystal ball, what do you think's coming down the pipe?
what my crystal ball right now is going to tell me is yes, today people are kind of holding back. They want to figure out it's like somebody threw a whole bunch of cards up in the air and we're waiting to see how many of them land inside the circle. Once that happens, we're going to discover is there's a lot of pent up demand. All the stuff that people haven't been doing right now, they're going to want to do. And it's not going to take 3 years to get there.
Wow. Love it.
Are you guys publicly traded?
No,
It's too bad.
Like that forecast,
Right.
insider trader happening right here.
All right, Jim, before I let you go, question we've been asking everybody. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, change it. Life is too short.
Love it. Yeah, that checks a lot of boxes for me. Life is too short. So, Jim, thanks again. Thanks for the
bet.
support of
Hey.
the show. Thanks for spending some time with us. Good to see you for the last few days. And then, safe travels back to the mainland.
Thank you. It was fun.
Yep.
Thanks.
Mahalo. And Jim, if you don't mind, that was perfect. I'm going to take a picture of your badge. But that's what I was told to do. So when we post this on LinkedIn, we'll make sure you're tagged.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what you said there, though. I think you're right. I mean, they may be waiting, but it's that demand's not disappearing.